Greetings once again. I have another cast for you today, knocking out 4 in 2 days. If I don't watch out, I'm going to raise expectations so high that I shall never live up to them again. But I had some extra time today, so I figured why not? Might as well put a few more up. I have an extremely good map for you. This is Syrtis Major EP. It is a 5 versus 5. I love this map and I love watching games on it. I did cast one a couple days ago, but for those of you who didn't watch it, quick rundown. It is, of course, 5 versus 5, and the layout of the spawns is pretty unique. To get a fast land factory up on the main pass, you have to walk to the edge and build. Otherwise, you have to walk all the way around the outside edge. And then there are civilians. You will see a huge fight in the center over this. So much mass. And then every once in a long while you will see a team effort to capture this quantum gateway instead of destroy it. And if that is successful, then you see very early SACUs. Pretty brutal strategy when it does work. But that can eco crash you because it is expensive to capture that building. I'm going to run through the teams real fast, and then we will see where this game takes us. On the north side, we do have Epson, Tiger, Can't Type, that would be Destiny Potato, and Speed 2. On the southern side, we have Tag Pebble. Long time since I've seen him playing. It's good to see him around again. Smurf Hunter, Hyoma, Freshly, and last but most certainly not least, Chosen. It looks like we have a pretty good spread of the factions, and of course this is going to average out to over an average Joe's game. There are two 1,200 players, but, well, yes, but the majority of the players are over 1,800. I'm going to bump up the speed some here and try to get through this as quickly as I can without missing anything. Unusually enough, there were no first bombers. It is odd to see air this late on this map. I say late, it is only 3 minutes. That was a second air factory, but that is still later than it normally is. That bomber is going to be able to nab off some engineers up here on the top side, and the northern team will get an interceptor out and knock that bomber down. Some minor squabbling among the players as to which mass extractor belongs to which person. Of course, once you get a team game or a team map that is played as much as this one is, it kind of falls into an overarching meta game where everybody knows his or her task, who's doing air, who gets what mass extractors, and who expands into what areas. T1 mobile artillery from both of the center players coming down on the civilian base are trying to knock down the point defense to get in there and reclaim all of that stuff. Excellent little run by up here in the north by Chosen, assisted by a bomber from Freshly. That bomber is going to get around the outside edge, but I think it will be knocked down soon enough. Tiger with a very good air presence. I think he has more interceptors than the entire southern team combined, plus there's a couple out for Destiny Potato. Looks like Smurf Hunter might have gotten himself into a little bit of a pickle. Mantis swarming up against his ACU, the Aeon upgraded comm, low on the health end of things. Plus he has Potato trying to chase him down. This could be an early knockout. 2,000, 1,000, and kaboom! Smurf Hunter has been ejected from the game. Brutally kicked with no apologies. This should be a no-share game, so yes, there went a chunk of the map for the southern team. Thankfully, they have the almighty Tag Pebble holding the southern gap, and he does have his own swarm of Mantis, so he will be able to hold off that group. And then we're going to see, hopefully, a good expansion from the southern team sucking up all of this mass and rebuilding those mass extractors. Have a beautiful little push here by a whopping total of 3 mobile artillery. This, folks, is why you build tanks and not just point defense, because if you only build point defense, there is always a mobile unit that outranges it or that can run around it. T2 is on the field for Tiger. He's pushing jesters across. A feeble attempt to snipe off that comm, but there are swift winds out for Freshly. Going to put a very speedy end to those jesters. That T2 land factory is going to give Tiger the advantage of stealth, and as you can see all around the map, we're seeing TAC missile defense pop up everywhere. TAC comms are a pretty popular occurrence on this map. You will see them pop up rather frequently. Tag Pebble diving in with the gun upgrade and his veritable horde of Mantis. Perfect timing on his part. There is a T2 engineer. There was a T2 engineer pushing forward to start a fire base, and Pebble was able to dive in there and knock that out before it came to fruition. And now Speed needs to get the hell out of Dodge. Although with Potato laying down some covering point defense, I think he will be safe. Now Tag Pebble is going to have to retreat in the face of 2 commanders. Air cover coming in. Yes, good timing. There was a T2 gunship, but unfortunately with all of the units pushed this way and white breaking to the left, huge run by for can't type. This is going to hurt. Freshie pushing out T2 gunships, but that is not going to be very effective as there is a lot of mobile flak here. Oh man, Yoma losing his entire base. He now has 0 income. If I were him, honestly, I would run back in and control K. Speed number 2 goes down to the Mantis and the gun comm from Pebble. It is good that he was able to knock that out because the northern side needed to lose a player badly. The southern side is down 2 ecos, and this run by is just continuing to stomp. Oh, Fire Beetles, 500 health, but there's a T2 point defense. Wow, talk about screwed. I'm sure that in his head all of the hallelujah choruses and the trumpets were playing, I survived the Fire Beetle snipe, but no. T2 point defense just has to go and ruin your fun. Oh man. Alright, Destiny Potato is being forced back from his position. Tag Pebble is going to be able to hold this area and hopefully reclaim some, although Can't Type is now pushing Ilshava's over to try and assist Potato. Someone's pinging right there, not sure what all about. Oh, that was the T2 bombers that were coming in trying to snipe some eco. Alrighty, Ilshava is on the northern side as well, although they are only going to get so far. Gonna drop down some mass extractors, do a little damage, and then get popped off one by Chosen. Chosen throwing up an inordinate amount of shields. Siege tanks as well from him. He has gone the T3 route, putting up defenses around his commander and then fielding T3 land units. And now there are more Ilshavas still coming in around the back. I want to look at Tag Pebble. 20,000 reclaim for Tag Pebble. Not the highest number ever, but more than I could achieve. That is always impressive. And he is recycling all of those reclaimed wrecks into more units to throw at his opponents. Tag Pebble has some excellent teammates. Chosen covering for his buddy and sending down that T3 mobile shield to cover his ACU, pulling some micro, trying to dodge one more bomber. 2,700 health. Thankfully, those strats were picked off by his teammates right there. Freshie doing an excellent job with his swift wins and denying that kill. They definitely do not need to lose Pebble, because if they do, this whole side is going to be completely screwed. Alrighty, still more strat bombers coming out from Potato. Apparently he has decided that when you can use strat bombers like Mercy's, why on earth would you ever build air cover for them? Flak pushing up from the center to try and do some damage to these swift winds, but there are ASF on the field now, so Freshie is going to be able to do a much better job of intercepting those problems. Chosen has T3 mobile artillery, and he's pushing them down into this little depression here in the ground where they'll be somewhat protected from the units on the northern face. And he is going to try to lay down some fire on this base here and knock out. There's a T2 artillery and some point defense there. That T2 artillery has a pretty good range into the enemy base. An area denial tool if there ever was one. Alright, we've entered the teching phase. It looks like the action has slowed down at least momentarily. We have a Yathatha on the way, and a lot of T3 air factories and T3 engineers going up all over the place. Another Yathatha. That one is over halfway done. Tag Pebble still pushing the T3 and T2 spam. Not doing a whole lot in the way of tech. And what is this? Tiger has a fire beetle drop hovering around in the back, but there are SAMs covering the northern side. Not sure what he is going to be able to do there. A Yathatha going up here speedily. This is going to end badly, and the Restorer picks it off. Good catch from Freshie. Talk about a near-death experience. My goodness, quite the hectic little game we got here. This seems to draw out. I know the other game that I casted was probably the single most chaotic game I have ever seen in my life. And this one is doing a pretty good job of living up to that example. It appears that when you get 2K plus players in a 5 versus 5 team game, you actually have some pretty interesting stuff happen. There's a lot of people that rip on team games for being uninventive and that all the action is one versus one, but I strongly disagree, as you can see here. Some brilliant plays by both sides. We've got snipers and the ACU pushing by Epson. That is going to finally take out this little base that's been here forever for Chosen. Although the comms need to be protected. At this point of the game, we're at 22 minutes. T4s are on the field. I would be nervous about overextending my comm in any direction because we are going to have T4s popping up all over the place. We have Yathatha coming out. We have Restorer spam over here. We have T3 spam from Pebble. And then we have a double Yathatha fielded from the northern team, as well as strat bombers coming out. We have a quantum gateway. I would not be surprised at all to start seeing Rambo comms, that devastating overcharge on those Seraphim SACUs. T3HQ has gone down. Yathatha is going to be able to rampage through the southern team with impunity thanks to all of this flak down here. That is going to keep the Restorers at bay. He needs to go ahead and dive on in there. I don't know why he's retreating. That is a major screw up, bud. You need to be on the move. That is going to give time for this Ythotha to get down there. Another one immediately started by Chosen, assisted by Pebble. Pebble pulling a whopping 65 mass. No eco whatsoever. Strictly surviving on reclaim and using spam to hold his position. Although, when you have this many Percivals headed for you, it's got to make you nervous. Northern team is pinging this Ythotha as fast as they can go. We have Sarah on Sarah violence here. Epson throwing attack missile that direction. That is going for eco in Chosen's base. A Ythotha and shields versus a Ythotha and shields. Well then, I think this one is definitely going to lose, especially considering the fact that Epson is going to dive right on in there and overcharge that thing for a speedy death. Still has his over half health. Two Ythothas now, and a GC spam has begun for Freshie. He knows he's got to do something about all of this. Large bank of tack launchers up for Epson, although that is going to be destroyed quite easily by a handful of Nothas. I am having a hard time imagining how the Southern team is going to squirrel out of this. I have a single Ythotha. Well, if they can get it up fast enough, there is a GC there, but unfortunately this Ythotha is going to go down ridiculously quickly, and then there is a third headed in. I think this may be the end of it. GG's being thrown out by the Southern team. I was about to say they need to snipe that, but that is an SACU preset to the Rambo. Has that overcharge in there. He can casually walk up and beat the ever-living daylights out of most direct fire experimentals. Tag Pebble, deciding that he doesn't want to make it too easy for them, is trying to run for the hills, but unfortunately I don't think he's going to get very far. One ACU going up, Broadswords tackling the next. We're going to see him go, and then last but not least, Tag Pebble is going to bite the dust. Alright, good game from all players. Especially that early game. This map definitely encourages the spam and encourages interesting play styles. I have played on this one a few times and greatly enjoyed it. I wish it was hosted a little more in my rank range. Alright, that is going to wrap it up for this cast, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, please, if you have any good replays, post them in the comments below, or to the Facebook page, or message me. One of the three. I do not care which. I will try to get to them as quickly as possible. Thank you much, guys.